So the Rockets get past Norfolk State, no surprise there, as Mike Robinson, sideline reporter for the Rocket Radio Network, joins us now. Mike, I assume you're dried out from that wet Saturday night at the Glass Bowl?
Absolutely. You know, it was definitely a dry night to start, but then it got wet, and then the Rockets started picking up some steam just like the rain did, and they really got going. But, yeah, I'm dried out for the most part.
Now, by design in that game, we saw both Carter Bradley, the starting quarterback, Daquan Finn, the quarterback 1B, if you will, if Carter Bradley's 1A. Also saw a little Tucker Gleason later in the game. Jason Candle talked about the efficiency of all three of his quarterbacks. Is that what you saw from the sideline?
Absolutely. All the quarterbacks combined for 13 and 18 on the night, you know, having really great efficiencies, and all the QBs finished with over a 60% QBR, with 1A and 1B being and 90% each. So these quarterbacks actually understood the offense. They understood what they needed to get done. They didn't really throw any bad passes, found the right plays, and made them and stuck to them. So I think Coach Candle and the offense had a real sound plan, and they executed it properly.
Now, the good news is the Rockets blocked 2 punts, returned them for a touchdown, so that's 14 points in the first quarter, but that also meant the offense didn't get as many snaps as you would like them to have seen because the defense kept on giving the ball back to the offense because of those special teams plays. So the Norfolk State offense was on the field quite a bit in that first half. So maybe we didn't see quite everything we wanted from the offense, but also that meant the defense for the Rockets. They were on the field an extended period of time in that first half, and that Rocket defense looked very good against an FCS team, but still very good.
Hey, and this is just no ordinary FCS team, you know. Jawan Carter, obviously, he was named the Player of the Year to be in this conference here with the FCS. But one thing to make mention of is this is a good football team. They had some good things, but overmatched up front. Desjuan Johnson and the Rockets on that defensive unit, they did a really good job. Terrence Taylor did a really good job spelling the rest of those guys up front. And again, you almost had a pick six from one of our guys here locally from Whitmer High School. So you love to see what's happening with this Toledo defense. The confidence is starting to be instilled, and defense wins championships. So when you got Coach Ross getting these guys ready on that special teams punt block unit, they're executing, finding ways to make plays, even if it's the younger guys like Max and Hook stepping up. So this is really good for the Rockets team. A lot of experience is being built, and that toughness and that callous layer of skin they're going to need to get through that non-conference schedule.
You said the word confidence. The source tells me that another adjective for confidence and a synonym for confidence is swagger. Was there maybe too much swagger leading to some unfortunate penalties for the Rockets in that game?
Definitely a little bit too much swagger. You know, sometimes you got to calm down the drip. You know, these guys get a little bit too excited. And you know, and you get teams that's chopping at the bit. Norfolk State, I mean, of course these guys are going to be ready for battle. They haven't played in 2 football seasons. So for the Rockets, they got to learn how not to play down to competition, but learn how to play up to competition. And sometimes it's just being quiet and shutting up. Because if you get too antsy, the referees will come out throwing flags. And if they get into your head and start controlling the game, things won't really go good. But for the Rockets, they're able to overcome that with their talent. But they have some things to work on in this week coming up.
Playing smarter is one thing they need to work on. What else do they need to do as they make that leap from week 1 to week 2 and a very good opponent in week 2?
You know, week 2 definitely is going to be a test for this football team, and it's also a great challenge. You know, and the one thing you like about the flip of that coin is the Rockets get a chance to be on a national network, opportunity of a lifetime for these young men to get up and boost their draft stocks if there are any draft hopefuls on this team. And outside of that, to get a good team victory. What more would it be for Jason Candle to come up here to Notre Dame, the South Bend, and get a big victory with his Rockets and this young team? It'll steam boost this team to get a nice drive into the next gear where they got Colorado State, UMass coming up, and they can get through the rest of this non-conference schedule. But as far as winning, the number one thing that they need to do is just focus on controlling the controllables and not playing outside their game. Yeah, Notre Dame's going to have a little bit more talent, but just focus in on what the Rockets can do, and I think they'll be okay.
We've seen Toledo play Power 5 schools in the past. We've seen Toledo beat Power 5 schools in the past. But Notre Dame isn't just a Power 5 school. They're a top 5 school. They are coming off of an appearance in the playoffs. And this is a Notre Dame team that looks like it's primed to go deep again in the college football regular season. So is there a psychological battle that Toledo has to overcome, that they're Notre Dame, but they're just another football team?
Sure. I mean, you got to look at it like this. These guys bleed like we bleed. You know, they sweat like we sweat. They play football like we play football. These two schools are only 2.5 hours apart. Not too much of a difference. Toledo had a big upset in the Big House not too long ago, and they're looking to have another upset here in South Bend. So I think it's possible they can draw in back on what they did years back. You know, Coach Nate Cole was a part of that team when they were out there. So he has some memories about having big victories as a Rocket. So I think this is a good opportunity for them to just kind of step up to the challenge and not really think too much of it. It's another team. It's another game. The lights are just going to be a little bit brighter.
First ever meeting between Toledo and Notre Dame in football. Mike, Rob, enjoy the trip to South Bend, and thanks for spending some time with us tonight.
Thanks again, Mark.